Welcome back to the Physio Bros. Today we're going to be bulletproofing your hamstrings. If you've ever suffered from a hamstring tear, pain or strain, then here are 7 exercises to help bulletproof your hamstrings. The first exercise is an arabesque. Now I'm going to be demonstrating how to perform this on my right leg. I'm setting myself up with a weight in the opposite hand, my left hand, and I'm going to go into a single leg stance position. As I come forward, my left leg is coming up to act as a bit of a counterbalance. I'm aiming to perform about 3 lots of 10. This is a great way to strengthen through your glutes and your upper hamstrings.
The next exercise is going to be your Nordics. Now this is really good for strengthening the distal or the lower portion of your hamstring. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up being on your knees. You need to stabilize your ankles, so DB is going to hold onto my ankles for me. And then you're going to slowly lower yourself down, trying to slow your descent by turning on your hamstring muscles. Now you want to get to the point where you're going as slow as you can, pretty much all the way down to the floor, even slower than I'm showing now. And the reps that we work off is based off a Nordic protocol. So the first week you're starting off with 2 sets of 5, and then that's going to progress all the way down to after 5 weeks you're hopefully going to be up to 3 sets of 10. Our next exercise is the RDL or the Romanian Deadlift, which is awesome for strengthening that upper end or proximal end of your hamstring. So you're going to grab onto 2 dumbbells, 1 in each hand. Start off with a slight knee bend, which shouldn't change throughout the motion, and then you're going to slowly lower yourself down and then back up. It's all hinging through the hips, and you really want to try and keep that lower back neutral as you move through your reps. Show you from this angle. An alternate to this is called an RDL Catch, which is going to simulate those faster deceleration that you're going to need when you're training or trying to get back to sports. So what you're going to do is the same movement, but you're just going to wrap it at the start and catch it at the bottom of the rep. Show you from the side.
Before we get into revealing all the other bulletproof hamstring exercises, just remember to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell because we have plenty more content to come. The next exercise is the Hamstring Bridge. To set yourself up for this exercise, what you want to be doing is lying on the ground with your feet elevated on a bench. In this demonstration, I'm going to be strengthening my left hamstring. So I'm going to lift my right leg off the bench and I'm going to be driving down through my left heel to lift my bottom up to end of range. What you're aiming for is roughly 3 lots of 10. And of course, you want to be performing this on both sides. To make this harder, what you want to do is you can add a plate or a barbell to your hips to increase the resistance of the exercise.
The next exercise is a hamstring wall catch. So you're going to set yourself with your back propped up on a bench and your distance away from the wall where your knee is in a slight bend. What you're going to do is you're going to start with one leg bent up to 90 degrees in your hip and knee, and then you're going to do a rapid switch between your legs using your hamstrings to catch your foot on the wall. This is really good in simulating those rapid deceleration in your sports. Sprinting is a non-negotiable form of training when you're trying to bulletproof your hamstrings. So what we know from this study here is that sprinting is the only form of training that can actually reproduce maximal hamstring contraction. So if you're trying to strengthen and develop yourself into being able to return to sport, sprinting is a non-negotiable form of training that needs to be reintroduced. So you need to incorporate sprinting into your routine at least once a week, getting up to speeds to 95 to 100% of your maximum speed. Again, this is super important in testing out your hamstrings to prepare them for back to field activities. So if you have re-injured your hamstrings before with return to sport, all of these exercises are going to be great for developing that baseline foundation of strength. But your hamstrings aren't going to be bulletproof until you incorporate speed training into your routine.
So, just a bit of an overview as to why we've targeted hamstrings in our Bulletproof series. We know that in a lot of sports like soccer, football and rugby, there's a high prevalence of injury which leads to prolonged time on the sidelines. In some studies that look at soccer players returning to sport after a hamstring tear, it showed that people took about 14 to 21 days before they were able to return to competitive activities. In another study, it looked at people having a proximal hamstring tear and it took up to 44 days for them to return to sport. So obviously we're seeing quite a long period of recovery time before they return. Another really important factor to remember is that it has a really high recurrence rate. In some studies it shows that there's a 15 to 33% chance of you re-tearing on return to sport. And that's why it's really important to try exercises like we've gone through today and incorporate sprint work into your program. If you enjoyed this content today, please smoke that like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you all soon.